Hello everybody, it's me, Ghost Bunny, and today I'm going to be reading chapter 10 of Case File Compendium. We are finally at the double-digit mark. I'm really super excited, especially because this chapter, we're probably going to get some confessions. Previously on Case File Compendium, we had, Shishui, maybe a little bit jealous. She seemed a little bit jealous of, I forgot her name, I don't care about her, but her, that lady, and Hayu. That's gonna be very, very interesting. I don't want to get my hopes up because as most of us probably already know, this is a BL, so I feel very sad for her. If she is into him, it could be a fake out, who knows, but we do know she likes somebody. And we do know that Hayu wants to confess that he likes her because he's been liking her for a while. Pero, we'll never figure it out if we never start. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing right now. Before anything, let me give my disclaimers, and that is that, for starters, I have no affiliations with 7Cs or with Meat Bun. I have no affiliations with any of the two. This is not an official audiobook. This is just us gays having a gay old time, fun gal time, okay? Secondly, I do not speak Chinese. Chinese is a beautiful language. I just happen to not speak it. So if I mistake the names, which I'm pretty sure I've been mispronouncing them, I've seen people say the names, but I'm trying. I swear I'm trying. I'm trying to pronounce their names properly. I'm just really bad. I'm tonally deaf. I swear I'm tone deaf. But I'm trying my best to not, I don't want it to come off as me making a mockery of the Chinese language. Like I said, it's beautiful. I'm just really bad at it. And tercero, I do speak English, but English is not my native language. So yes, I will make a lot of mistakes in English. I'm trying my very best to have less mistakes and to read it well. Pero yeah, I'm a native Spanish speaker, so hopefully that doesn't bother anybody. Okay, well, let's start. Let's start reading. Let's what we came for was Case File Compendium, and that's what I'm gonna give you. Case File Compendium. Chapter 10. On the day I was going to tell her, something went wrong. Oh God, I knew something was gonna happen. I just didn't know the title of the chapter was gonna just spoil it to me. Okay, let's just go. Okay. A few days later, Hayu made a reservation at a rooftop restaurant and asked. Can I read? I'm gonna read that sentence entirely again. I'm so sorry. A few days later, Hayu made a reservation at a rooftop restaurant and asked Shishui to meet him on a weekend evening. He was planning to formally express his feelings to her there. Shishui was confused when she picked up his call, but once she heard that there would be food, well, she was immediately overjoyed. Honestly, same. I also love food. Alright, I'll be there. I'll definitely be there. Then, let's do 6 o'clock on the 20th. See you there. Huh? The evening of the 20th? What is it? Shishui felt a bit distressed. I might be a little late if it's then. The emergency department at Hsu First Hospital just called me and said that the homeless service would be taking Uncle Zhuang and to Chenkang Psychiatric Hospital that evening. I also reached out to Chenkang since I wanted to discuss bringing students over to visit with their director. Hayu sighed. Then I'll pick a different time. But it's so hard to get reservations at that restaurant. Last time I called, they told me I would need to do it at least 3 months in advance. Hayu smiled. Don't worry. We can go anytime you want. My family is one of the restaurant's investors. Oh, so he's got rich mata money. He's got wasteful money. That's how much he's got money. Shishui was speechless. Capitalism. What a disgusting thing. It robbed all the satisfaction of a hard-won prize. Don't. It's so much trouble for the restaurant's manager. And I don't like doing things that way, said Shishui. Let's just go with the 20th. I'll try to finish up as quickly as possible. If anything changes, I'll tell you on WeChat beforehand. Hayu pressed a hand against Hayu pressed a hand against his forehead, smiling even more widely. Oh, it's all up to you. Okay, it's all up to you. Shishui happily and Shishui happily ended the call. There were going to be good food to eat, so yay! The 20th arrived in the blink of an eye. Because Shishui was discussing business on behalf of the school, she wore a classic Hazard University faculty uniform suit to accompany Zhuang Zixiang to Chenkang Psychiatric Hospital with the employee from Homeless Services. Unlike Wanping 600, Chenkang was a privately run and very old psychiatric hospital. As soon as they stepped out of the car, they were assaulted by a horrible stench. A staff worker was in the middle of directing a cleaning car to Huh? A staff worker was in the middle of directing a cleaning cart to drag off a load of bedsheets that had been soiled with patients' feces and urine with a look of aversion on their face. So basically, they were cleaning a bunch of blankets because some people, did their business on them, and well, it's understandable, psychiatric hospital and whatnot. So, yeah. Off to the roadside, two people in charge of refueling a car were arguing. Their faces turning red as they debated whether or not to put some gas. Some gas had gone missing. They were fighting over apparently one of the little cars that they used was running out of gas. So, yeah, they were fighting no, it's your turn. No, it's your turn. No, it's your turn. That nonsense. Yeah. Uncle Zhuang was a bit afraid, and he shrank back, tugging on Shishui's hand. Daughter, Don't worry, Uncle. You'll only be here for a short while. They're taking you somewhere else later, okay? Only then did Uncle Zhuang slowly follow. She swayed into the building, so he followed her. The decor in the psychiatric hospital's reception area could be considered comforting. Though the facilities were all aging, at least the air inside was clean and fresh, and the color scheme was quite soothing. Xiaozang, from Homeless Services? Yeah, you're here to arrange Mr. Zhuang Xixiang's temporary guardianship service, correct? Yes. The boss mentioned you'd be coming this way, please. Zhuang Xixiang's condition was classified as a relatively minor case, so he was placed on the first floor, accompanied by an employee. She strode toward the room and surrounding areas, which relaxed her slightly. A young staff member began to speak with Uncle Zhuang, her expressions all smiles. Mistaking the staff for his daughter, he began to ramble on her. Well then, we'll be leaving him in your care. The home service employee returned to the office with the director of long-term hospitalization and signed a stack of forms. But Shishua's appointment wasn't with the receptionist. She needed to talk to Director Liang, who was upstairs. The receptionist couldn't step away from her post to guide her, so she gave Shishue directions to the third floor shift office, where she could find him. The third floor of the Changkan Psychiatric Hospital was the ward set aside for acute cases. As soon as Shui stepped out of the elevator, she felt a chill. The entire atmosphere on the floor was very different, completely different from downstairs. It felt like a prison with its barred window and reinforced doors lining the entire corridor. Shrieks and sobs filled the air, making the whole area seem as frigid as a scene out of a horror movie. Ooh. The incandescent bulbs flooded the corridor in a bright light around the clock, rendering it an abnormal, deadly white. Why? Thank goodness the patients don't go there. Oh, maybe there is a patient there, or maybe I skipped too much. Wait a minute. Oh, I did skip a page. Oopsie. Nope, I did not. I'm dying. I'm dying. Ha 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 ha. You're sick. You're the sick one. I'm not human. I'm a ghost. No, I'm not a ghost. I'm a human. Okay, who exactly am I? Am I a human or a ghost? Look, you don't know me neither. I thought I skipped a page, but no, this is 125, 126. Babe, I'm equally or more lost as you. Am I a ghost? Am I a bunny? Which one am I? The world may never know. Each patient's room was sealed with a heavy steel door, and each steel door had a copy paper sized tempered glass window through which it was possible to peer inside. Trembling with fear, she should have ventured a bit further down the corridor. In the end, she couldn't contain her curiosity and stopped at the doorway of a relatively quiet patient's room. Lifting herself onto her toes to peek in the windows, a woman was sitting inside, laughing foolishly to herself. The entire room was fully furnished with soft objects that ensured the patient could not harm or, kill herself. There were no tables or chairs. Even the bed was a special type that didn't have, corners. It was very round. And it came equipped with pitch black restraints that trailed down to the floor. That that mad woman was sitting there and caressing the restraints, clinging to them intimately and shoving them into her ample bosom, giggling stupidly. Who told you to cheat with that bitch? Look, now I have already chopped you into strips. Other than me, who else would be willing to touch and hold you, husband? She moved on to the next room because that was weird and creepy, but it was empty. Perhaps the patient had, been taken away for treatment. Who knows? I'm not gonna stay here to figure that one out. The window of that room after, you know, The window of the room after that showed the silhouette of a hunchbacked man, sitting facing a corner and smearing something on the wall. Oh no, does not look good. Someone called the doctor. He appeared extremely calm and peaceful, but as she stared, she realized that what he was mirroring was his own. Oh yeah, I kind of figured that one out. Yep, his poo poo was all over the walls. I figured that one. I didn't need details. She swear you could keep walking. Continuing to the next room, thank you. She saw the patient was a young boy, perhaps because he had mutilated himself too badly, he had been completely bound to a specialized bed. Who knew for how long, though? He was laughing and sobbing hysterically with his face upturned. Fuck you! What right do you have to tie me down? I want to die! Why can't I want to die? If you don't let me die, once I get out, I'll kill you. Once I get out, I'll kill every last one of you. Let me out, set me free. The more Shishui watched, the more terrified she became. Yeah, stop staring, Shishui. That's rude. The more terrified she became, the more she stared. Oh, God damn it, Shishui, stop doing that. Stupefied. Yeah, well, she's very stupid for doing that. Jesus Christ. Thank goodness no one. I'm not gonna talk. Watch someone escape. That's how you lose your face, baby. And not in the respect kind. In the monkey type. We don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want to read that. That happens. Just know that. But stop staring, Shishui. Eventually, her eyes moved along the glass window to the next. And god damn it, she saw something she wasn't supposed to. Okay. Ah! Shishui screamed. A face pressed against the glass window caught her off guard. Horribly frightened, Shishui retreated to the opposite side of the corridor, leaning against the door on the other side and panting harshly. The man at the window was cross-eyed, and he stared at her with terrifying, huge, bloodshot eyes. Seeing her frightened expression, he started laughing loudly with the light from inside the room, his nose red and swollen from rosacea, whatever, was pressed tightly to the glass, rubbing sebaceous Streaks all over the window. Look, pointing as the man was staring right there with his bloodshot eye, just looking trippy and scary and crazy and all the other jazz. Like, terrifying. Shishue's heart pounded. She had just struggled to collect herself when she suddenly felt something ice cold on her ankle. Uh-oh. She looked down and screamed even louder than before. Ow! It was a, dun dun dun. It was a hand. See, I can make suspense too. In addition to the eye-level window pane, there was also a flap for delivering meals at the bottom of the steel door. Taking advantage of this, a tiny pale hand had reached out from the opening and was grabbing tightly onto her ankle. Uh-oh. Which was pressing against the door. You know, when they said the whole confession thing was gonna go bad, I didn't think it was I thought it was gonna be like he rejected him or something. What? That wasn't that much of a spoiler as I thought it was. Okay, back to reading. Shui nearly had a breakdown. She jumped up immediately, crying and screaming while stomping her feet. The little hand, uh-oh. What did it do? Okay, let's make sure I'm not skipping a page. Okay. So the little hand retreated. Oh, thank you. But the patient went back to the center of the room, standing where he could be seen through the window pane, sorry. We were panicking so much I read it like that. It was a young boy with albinism. His entire body looked as if he'd been bleached. Even his pupils were nearly translucent. He stared calmly at her, bringing his gleaming white teeth in a grin. 姐姐 Chen Kang had poor soundproofing. All the patients along the corridor had taken notice to the ruckus. They squeezed up to their receive windows and stared at Shui while filling the corridor with a cacophony of strange noises. The patients shouted among themselves, and a number of them stuck their hands out through the opening flaps, swaying them back and forth and grasping the air blindly like floating seaweed. That sounds absolutely terrifying. I would never want to be in that environment. Shishui, you can run or you can run. Yeesh. There's a woman here to see us. Who is it? A doctor? A doctor, my ass. A visitor. It's a female ghost. Grab her legs. They couldn't reach Shishui, of course, but they laughed with extreme and unbridled abandon. It was terrifying. Shishui, run. For a moment, Shishui practically felt like she walked into a forest filled with owl spirits, surrounded by ghoulish cries. Shishui couldn't bear it anymore. She prepared to flee back to where she had come from, no matter how long the receptions took, She waited until they were done before coming back up with them. But right at that very moment, someone tapped her on the shoulder. Help! Ah! Bad things came in threes. Shishui's mental defenses broke down completely. Shh! Shishui's face was soaked in a cold sweat. She turned in the direction of the shushing sound in horror, only to see an exceptionally attractive countenance. She saw oh God. It was a beautiful woman. I also get relaxed when I see a beautiful woman. Makes my day so much better. Ladies. That woman wore an old-fashioned vintage-looking red dress with a pair of red heels. She was a little along, in years, about 50 or so. Oh. But one could still see the stunning beauty she must have possessed when she was younger, and the one she still possesses, by the way. Just because she's older, she doesn't mean she's not beautiful. Still, bonita hermosa chula, baby. Even though they'd begun to shrivel away like a drying apple, one could still imagine the beguiling allure her features once had. Excuse you, are you a little bit ageist? A name tag hung over her chest. Liang Jicheng. Shishui let out a sudden sigh of relief like a leaking ball on the verge of collapse. So she was like, that type. Director Liang. Liang Jicheng smiled, but for some reason her face was a little stiff, as if she couldn't move her muscles fully, and could only manage that superficial expression. She told Shishui quietly, "You must not scream here. The more you scream, the more it thrills the patients, and the more they'll try to scare you. Come on, let's go to my office." At 53, He Yu suddenly received a message from Shishui. "Oh, I probably won't be late," he replied to her. Did the talk go smoothly on your end?" "Quite smoothly. They agreed to let me bring a group of students here to visit, but they have more requirements than I expected, so I'm still hashing out the details." After a while, she texted, "All right, the director Liang is in charge of showing me around today. It's beautiful, a real stunner, and super poised. It's really too bad that you couldn't come along." Hayu didn't want to bother himself. Yeah, Hayu didn't want to bother himself with her anymore. He tossed his phone aside and got ready to wait for her at the restaurant. It was still early when he arrived. The manager reverently led him to the table at the rooftop observatory. He'd booked in advance. Even though they were, private rooms, Hayu had chosen an open balcony seat so that they could look down at Hazel's scenery. Plus, the night wind was very calming, and the rosy sunset was beautiful and majestic. He felt that Shishui would like this better. At 6:05 p.m., Shishui still hadn't arrived. Hayu sent her messages asking where she was and whether she was caught in traffic. Right after that, he heard a nearby server say, "Ladies and gentlemen, please be careful on these steps." He looked up to see a large group of people had arrived. It looked like some business conference or, a gathering for the higher ups of a company. How you found a little, how you found it a little noisy, okay? Just as he was thinking about whether he should get a different seat, however, the sight of an indifferent looking man. I'm going to read the entire sentence again. Hayu found it a little noisy, just as he was thinking about whether he should get a different seat. However, the sight of an indifferent looking man among the crowd startled him. Xie Cheng. As luck would have it, the medical school that Xie Cheng worked at had an important event at this venue, which was chosen months in advance. Now that the event was over, it was dinner time for the attendees. When a when arranging a date at such an upscale Jesus, can I read? When arranging a date at such an upscale spot, Hayu never could imagine that he would be so unfortunate as to still end up bumping with Xie Xingcheng. How could he possibly express his feelings to Xie Shui when his feudalistic patriarch at the scene? Ugh. Good God, God knows Xie Xingcheng might throw him off the top of God knows Xie Xingcheng might throw him off the top of the floor into the river below. Can I read or just I don't know. Chen Xingcheng had noticed Yu as well. He said a few words to his colleagues and walked over to greet Yu. He's like, "I know you don't want to see me here, but you know what? I came to ruin your day. You've done enough. I want to do more." Waiting for somebody? Yes. One of Xie Xingchen's nosy co-workers approached. Upon seeing Yu, they said, "Oh, what a handsome young man, Professor Xie. Is that your relative?" "Oh, he's a client's son." "Oh, young man, are you on a date with your girlfriend?" In this world, there were always irritating social butterflies who pried without the slightest respect for boundaries. Yu had a good sense of self-restraint. He smiled, saying, "I'm waiting for Professor Xi's little sister." The colleagues grew even more excited, turning to bat their lashes in Xie Xingchen's direction. "Your brother-in-law is so handsome!" At the sight of Xie Xingchen's expression, Yu knew that if he dared tell Xie Shui how he felt today. Well, Shishi Chen would flip a table and start a fight with him on the spot. What if he gave up? He could, he could tell her some other day and just have dinner with Xie Shui this time around. He might said, he voluntarily took the first step, smile and say, "You've misunderstood. We're just friends." Xie Cheng was still frowning. Why did you make plans with her then? I haven't had a chance to treat her properly since I came back from overseas. Just as Xie Cheng was about to say something else, his colleagues at the table started calling for them to, get a seat. With his with his colleagues pulling him away, he had no other choice but to leave. He shot He Yu a look of warning before returning down to his own table. When 6:15 p.m. rolled around, the food had already begun to arrive at the medical school professor's table. Xie Shui, however, had yet to make her appearance. Yikes. Yeah, that confession's not happening today. Not only that, but she also hadn't even replied to the messages that He Yu sent her 10 minutes ago. He Yu sent another text, but there was still no response. Feeling something was off, He Yu decided to call Xi Shui directly on WeChat. She didn't answer. He then tried calling her cell phone. At first the dial tone beeped, but after a long time there was still no response. He called her again and again. Something was definitely wrong. "Hello? The user you're calling has their device switched off. Please call back later." Shishua's phone had suddenly been switched off. This time, Yu was certain that something had happened. He immediately stood up and made out to walk straight out of the rooftop restaurant. At the sight of young Master He moving so quickly and with such a dark expression, the manager was terrified out of his wits. With panic in his voice, he asked, "Young Master He, was there a problem with the service?" "No, no, no, no." Yu pressed the elevator button, his expression growing incredibly severe. "Have the lobby call a car for me immediately." "Oh, yes, straight away." Hayu's temper was beginning to flare. Why the absolute was the building so tall? He even had to switch elevators to get all the way to the bottom floor. With a loud ding, the offending elevator finally reached this floor. It reached the floor, okay? The gunmetal gray doors opened, and Yu strode in. Just as the doors were about to close, a hand shot between them and pushed them open again. Yu looked up viciously to see which tactless bastard was wasting his time. What he saw was a beautiful, slender hand wearing a wristwatch. His eyes traced their way up to the length of the arm, only to be met with Xie Cheng's gravely stern face. What happened? I like how you were mentioning him as beautiful. Think I didn't see that. 40 minutes later, after running too many red lights to count and breaking numerous traffic regulations, the restaurant's luxurious shuttle bus came to a stop outside Chen Kang's psychiatric hospital. He Yu and Xi Cheng entered the building together, but this time the sky had already turned dark. The lights were on in the lobby and in the first floor. Several patients with mild conditions were doing rehabilitation exercise under the nurse's supervision. Upon seeing He Yu and Xie Chen's harried expressions as they pushed open the door, the nurse at the reception desk stared briefly in surprise before addressing them. "Who are you looking for?" "A young female teacher from Hazur University came to see Director Liang to discuss a project this afternoon," said Xie Cheng. "I'm her older brother. Where is she?" "In that case, she should be on the third floor." The nurse looked Xie Cheng up and down and suddenly smiled, her face reddening. "You're worried about your little sister, handsome? You don't need to be so nervous," she teased in a sarcastic voice. "We're a licensed hospital here. Nothing can go wrong. They probably just got carried away while chatting. Plus, our director Liang is in his 50s and has a wife and kid. There's no way he would, I don't know how to say stop, but I'm going to say in Korean. Hajima, or Japanese. Yamete. Yamete kudasai. Para. What do you mean he? Did I read it wrong? No, it was a woman, right? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh, wait, no, let me go back. I swear. It was a woman, right? Wait, she said it's a he, but she talked to a woman. Oh no. Uh-oh. Okay, let's just I'm just confused now. Did I read the pronoun? No, they said that he was a beautiful woman and that she looked really hot when she was young. I'm pretty sure I read that right. Right? Yeah, let's just continue. I'm so confused now. She was a woman, but now she's the nurse lady saying that he. Which one of us is misgendering here? I'm confused. What did you say? Yu suddenly cut her off. You said Director Liang has a wife and a kid? Or maybe she's a lesbian. Who knows? Yes? Hayu's face blanked. Originally, he only had an unfound suspicion that something was wrong, but now Hayu was completely certain. He still had the last message that Xie Shui sent to him. She had said, "The director Liang is in charge of showing me around today. It's beautiful, a real stunner, and super poised." But director Liang wasn't a woman. See, okay, so I wasn't wrong. See, wait a minute. Then who was she talking with? Hayu immediately sprinted up the stairs. At the very moment within Chengkang Psychiatric Hospital, okay, wait. At that very moment within Chengkang Psychiatric Hospital's shift office, drifting snippets of a children's nursery rhyme echoed through the space. Drop, drop, drop the hanky, set it lightly behind your friend's back. No one let her know. This song has been brought to you by I don't know the song they're singing, and there's no little note to tell me what it is. Thank you for listening. Hehe. Liang Jicheng absent-mindedly hummed this song. Oh, I thought they were calling. Okay, well, Liang Jicheng, or who we thought was Liang Jicheng, are you even Liang Jicheng? Absent-mindedly hummed this song as she hacked at something on the ground again. Uh-oh. I'm gonna read that sentence again, but uh-oh. So, the supposed Liang Jicheng absent-mindedly hummed this song as she hacked at something on the ground again and again with the surgical scalpel in her. Oh no! She. Oh my god, she. Dude, am I gonna cry? Dude, am I crying? No, she swears. I'm not even lying to you guys. Am I gonna start crying? Our good girl, the best girl. Oh god, I'm actually tearing. Holy shit, the pages are getting blurry. Our good girl? No, please, no, please. Oh no, I'm reading. God, no. The fan above her head, wired with a droning hum, it threw the stark lines of shadows and lights into a chaotic mess, but the object in front of her was still illuminated. It was a body, still fresh. Blood had already dyed the Huzza University faculty uniform bright red. It is a good girl, no. I'm gonna cry. I'm sorry. Our good girl. She only wanted to help people. She only wanted to do good, and now she's gone. I'm sorry. A moment of silence for our good girl Shishui. I know she's not real, but give her a moment of silence, please, out of respect. Okay. Just. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm still in shock. Oh my god, why are actual tears leaving my eyes right now? I thought it was gonna be a funny little tee hee ha ha, and how he was gonna be like, "Girl, I like you," and she's gonna be like, "Damn, bro, too bad. I see you as a bestie or as like a bro or some not like this." Yeah, I know, and it was she swear the fake piece of trash. Lang Ji-cheng finally managed to hack off Shishua's entire hand. Holding it up, she examined the hand for a while before apathetically tossing it aside. The disembodied body part fell to the ground next to where Shishua's ice cold corpse. That's the end. Thank goodness. I'm sorry. I need a break. I need a break. I can't. My good girl, Shishue. I am actually trembling. Oh my god. Thank goodness I didn't go into too much detail. Yeah. Oh my god. Oh. If you guys been liking my reading, I guess like, comment, subscribe, or whatever. I'm sorry. You can. You want to? The rest of the book is nice and fun. So if you want that, I've also started reading Volume 2 of Kim Porsche, which is also quite heavy. But hey, we get some lightheartedness, I guess. Please, next chapter. Oh no, I have no idea about it. Next chapter is gonna probably be worse. Iron Widow. I get one of them. There's more books. Look at the playlist, and yeah, just hope you're having a good day, night, wherever you are, however you are. Happy Chinese New Year. And bye 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 bye. Beep.